Hey nerds, welcome to not just another episode of the Nerd Rundown podcast where we cover the latest in the nerd world of movies, TV, and more, but a very special episode to us here at the Nerd Rundown. I'm your host today, Darren Semple. Eric is back in his cockpit today for this very special episode. Welcome back, Eric, and congrats on making it 1 year with me.
1 year, buddy. 1 year. It's been awesome. It's been so great.
I'm glad I haven't scared you away.
No. And I was going to say, had I been on last week's show, the Top Gun themed one, it would have been yeehaw. My greeting would have been a yeehaw, gestures dead. So that would have been
that would have been I should have been like, I wonder what Eric's intro would have been. And yeah,
it was a great show. That was a great show, and I'm looking forward to Top Gun Maverick. I cannot tell you how excited I am to see that movie. So it's going to be awesome.
My hype level is at where it's at, I can only imagine where yours is at.
Yeah,
because I love Top Gun so much, and I know you love Top Gun like way more than me. So.
Yeah, I remember I saw it 6 times. I saw it like 6 or 7 times in the theater in 1986. When it came out. So hopefully this one is equally as fun for me, and I'll watch as many times as possible. So yeah,
I hope it. It won't have probably the magic of the first one, but I think as long as it has a little bit of that essence, I think we'll be in good shape.
Yeah, for sure. So, but yeah, 1 year, dude. I can't
1 year. I know.
It.
Episode 50. Wait, that's 10. 50.
Yep.
Podcast number 50, the gold episode. 1 year ago today, we sat down and we said, let's do this thing. And we'll reflect back on the last year later on in the episode, and looking forward to hearing, your thoughts on how the last year has gone. But it's been a magical ride, and it's a whole new world. So I can't wait.
Yeah, agreed.
Per the usual, you can find us on our social media like Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, all at the Nerd Rundown. And while you're there, please hit the like and subscribe button. Leave a comment. We've been getting a lot of fan interactions lately, which have been a lot of fun. Thank you, Mango Peaches.
Yeah.
And
happy birthday, Mango Peaches. Happy birthday to her.
Happy birthday yesterday.
Big shout out to her. So yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, and you know what? Almost missed it. Happy birthday to you, sir. It is actually your birthday today. It just triggered in my head. I was like, oh, wait, it's actually Darren's birthday too. So happy birthday.
I thought you were saying happy birthday to me, and then you said Meg. I was like, oh, thank God you forgot. I didn't have to bring it up.
No. Happy birthday to you, buddy. Thanks.
Well, happy birthday to you as well, buddy, in 4
Thank
days,
you.
as we are Aries together for life.
Yes, we are. We're brothers. Brothers like that. So yeah, absolutely.
Please listen to us on all the other major podcast services. If you can't find us on YouTube, it's our 1 year special. So we have a fantastic show for you today. Of course, we'll cover some of the biggest news items on a slow week on the rundown, and then we'll cap off the show with a really great question from good old Banana. But first on the rundown, we have news about Star Wars Celebration, which is always kind of near and dear to my heart because it started in Denver, Colorado. But it is on from May 26th to May 29th, if I'm reading that correctly. The big panels will be the Obi-Wan TV series, which I wouldn't be surprised if they show the first couple episodes at Star Wars Celebration a little early to the attendees. Andor, we might be getting a first trailer for official trailer for the Andor TV series.
Yeah.
Starring Diego Luna from Rogue One. And then the big one they said is going to be the Mando panel. And they're going to talk about the future of the Mandalorian franchise and how that's going to expand. So I thought that was kind of an interesting note, Eric. I think that shows that the Mandalorian franchise is the new Star Wars. And
it is, yeah.
And I want to hear your thoughts on what that could mean for the future of Star Wars.
Yeah. Well, I think we've moved on. I mean, that ending to season 2. So spoiler alert for those who haven't seen it or anything like that.
Oh, I just got chills.
The finale to season 2, I think, is a great send off to the Skywalker portion of Star Wars, which we didn't necessarily get. I mean, arguably some people like the Star Wars movies. Clearly we were not fans of them, but I think we may have seen the end of the Skywalker stuff, at least for a while. He may make an appearance here and there, but I think
did you see Boba Fett?
I have not seen it yet. I haven't seen it yet.
We get more Luke Skywalker in that.
Do we? Okay. Yeah. I haven't watched that yet. So okay. I don't know whether that'll, I don't know if that'll get pushed out and just kind of go away, but it's definitely not the central theme of Star Wars kind of moving forward. I mean, we'll probably get more Force stuff, and because people love Force, they love the lightsabers. But I don't know how much Luke Skywalker is going to be, or the Skywalkers are going to be kind of part of that, kind of going forward. So,
good point.
So we'll see kind of how that goes. I'm actually excited about the Mandalorian kind of expansion into that. I think it's fresh stories. It's like we had with the original. The Mandalorian itself is actually a pretty original story. It brings together a character that's different from Boba Fett. The armor is very similar to it, but he's a different guy. He's got different morals. He's got different, principles, and then you have, of course, the adorableness of Grogu and the baby Yoda. Yep. There you go. So, so it's got a lot of cool stuff, and so we'll just continue to expand and see. I know they had plans early on, with Cara Dune's character, they were going to do something with her, which I thought would have been really
Rangers
cool.
of the Republic.
Right. And then politics, apparently canceled that. And but then we do introduce Boba Fett. And I don't know, I haven't watched that character, but not watched that show yet. I don't know. I was curious, do you feel like they shoehorned, because they were already going to do a Boba Fett series, do you think they shoehorned him into the Mandalorian? I mean, it wasn't that it wasn't good. Like, it was cool how they brought him back and all that stuff. I mean, but I just was kind of curious, do you feel like they just shoehorned it in just to kind of play on the back of the success of the Mandalorian?
I think it's, so let me ask a real quick clarifying question on that. Are you asking it, was he shoehorned into Mando season 2, or was the TV show shoehorned?
No, I think was the character shoehorned into Mandalorian, and then they, because I think they already had Boba Fett planned to be some, they wanted to bring that character back, I think, and expand on his stuff. So I think the show was already planned, but I just wonder if they shoehorned him into, so you get like a Book of Boba season 0.5 by putting him into Mandalorian, and then you get full season 1, of that. So I don't know.
I really think you need to watch the Boba Fett show, because you'd have a completely different perspective on your question. Because in season 2 of Mandalorian, if that's all we ever got of Boba Fett, it would have been amazing, because you were like, man, I want more Boba Fett. That was amazing. He's so badass. Yeah. And then we get the show, and you're like, I'm done with Boba. Like, no more Boba Fett for me. And so you got to watch that show just to like.
It's up next. It's up next in my queue. I have one more episode of Peacemaker, and then I'm done with Peacemaker, and then
I can't wait. So
it's on to Boba.
Peacemaker. I can't wait. Well, it's unfortunate, because I think even Jason made a point in our Star Wars show last week where he's like, maybe they just didn't want any more Boba Fett merchandise to be sold or something. So it was unfortunate. It's not where we want to go. Tamora Morrison's 60 years old. It's not like he's going to sign up for the next 20 years of Star Wars either. So it's good that we have Mando to take the mantle, and he's definitely the face of Star Wars right now. So
yeah. Well, but with Celebration,
not a bad thing.
Yeah, I mean, kind of going back to the Star Wars Celebration stuff, you know, the Obi-Wan looks amazing. I think that's going to be fun to see, you know, like a really young Luke Skywalker, and how, you know, Obi-Wan kind of shepherds over top of him, you know, without making himself known to Luke. So that's going to be interesting. I think we've discussed in the past when that trailer popped up, how I don't care about Lars Owen and all that, but we're going to get more Lars Owen, I guess, or whatever, and stuff. But it's not that like the character doesn't mean anything. It just is. It's a not
asking for more Lars.
Yeah. I'm like, oh man,
you don't want to see the moisture farming.
I want to see more of that grumpy old moisture farmer who's bitter at being stuck on Tatooine. So. I can't wait to get his T-shirt. You know, you know. So, but yeah. So anyhow, Obi-Wan, I'm excited for. I am, I guess overall, the point to most of what I've got going right now is I feel the future of Star Wars is much brighter than it was, you know, several years ago, when we were coming out of The Last Jedi, you know, and the Rise of Skywalker stuff. And so I was, you know, it was a dark time for the Republic, you know, when that was done. So, but yeah, so I'm curious about the Andor stuff. That's another one where I think it's interesting that they're making a series out of that particular character, because it's not that I didn't find him interesting in Rogue One. I liked that, but that was more of an ensemble group of people. Like there wasn't like an individual that stood out in that where I was like, oh yeah, that's
right. So it's hard to make a show where you know the character's fate.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting how they kind of go back and do that. But
I think they're making that show to show the beginning of the rebellion. Like, how was the rebellion created? Why did it start? How did it start? The players involved in the beginning of that.
Right.
So I'm excited for that. The talk coming out of it is really great. It's got they say that it's got the like, for lack of better words, because it's on the top of my mind from earlier, the essence of Rogue One. So
okay,
I'm excited for that. And I'll say this, while Mando is the face of Star Wars right now and the future of Star Wars, they are starting to kind of go back in time in Star Wars, and they have a rumor that came out this week that Jude Law has nabbed the lead role in the High Republic.
Oh, interesting.
That they're developing, which the High Republic era is about 500 to 700 years before the Phantom Menace, Episode 1.
Okay. So that would be Darth Plagueis is where we probably would see something along those lines, maybe. Maybe.
I don't, this time last year, Star Wars released a bunch of comics and merchandise, some like online visual storytelling things about the High Republic era, and there was a crowd that loved it. There was a crowd that didn't necessarily love it because it wasn't necessarily the old Republic video game canon style storyline.
Oh, okay.
And they had some like Jedis with half-shaped heads and stuff like that. So there's some cool things that came out of it. There's some weird things that came out of it. And I hope, getting Jude Law that's a get for Star Wars. We love Jude Law in this household.
Dude's awesome.
So, I'll hold all expectations for that till I hear more, but that's a good start getting Jude Law.
Mr. Sky Captain himself, Jude Law.
I totally forgot about that movie.
Angelina
Jolie.
Yeah, and that movie got
that was actually a much better movie than it gets credit.
It was much better. Yeah, much better. I loved him in Captain Marvel. I thought he was great. in Captain Marvel as Jan Rog. And then he's playing Albus Dumbledore. I mean, the guy's bona fides are pretty legit. Like he's a movie star, for sure. So if he's going to be in that High Republic, and who knows, we could get Disney's doesn't seem to be shying away from darker stuff. We may get it'll probably be a Disney-fied, which may be is going to be a challenge, but it would be kind of cool if you had a High Republic TV series that's more Game of Thrones-ish, and has a lot of intrigue, has a lot of
incest.
I wasn't gonna say that, but that's but you knew what I meant. I was
it was implied. I got it. I'll be the one to say it.
Right. So I
will say that Banana, her, we talk about like Stacey's favorite dude in the world is Jason Momoa or Matthew McConaughey,
right?
And we talked about it a few weeks ago on the show. I think Morgan's wife Dee is Pacey, Joshua Jackson, and I said Seth Cohen from the OC, and it's only because I couldn't think Jude Law. Banana's like number one.
Yeah, he's a handsome man.
I have more hair than him though, so I've got him on that.
Yeah,
I don't have more hair than most people, but I definitely have more hair than him. We'll move on in the rundown to the second piece here on the rundown, which is the Thor: Love and Thunder marketing campaign has finally started ratcheting up. They released an image of Taika Waititi, Chris Hemsworth, and Tessa Thompson, who plays Valkyrie, and the internet went crazy because we haven't got a Thor: Love and Thunder trailer yet, which it's now broken the record for the shortest time of releasing a trailer before the premiere date.
Yeah,
which is a weird record. Like, who's keeping track of that?
Right. Normally you get a trailer like
teaser, like
4
6 months out.
Yeah, like
that's
6.
About the average.
Yep.
And we haven't even got a teaser trailer, let alone officially, because this is about the time you usually get an official trailer, about 90 to 120 days out.
Yeah.
So it's been a little weird. I'm not one of those nerds on the internet that's like freaking out because we haven't got our trailer. I have a feeling it's tying into Doctor Strange, and they can't spoiler. Yeah, they can't.
Yeah.
They act like if they're not going to release the trailer, they're not going to go see it.
Yeah. If anything, maybe that makes it more intriguing and drives more. For fans,
laughing at us because we're all talking about it online and they haven't released the trailer. So it's like we don't need to release a trailer for you.
But I guess when I look at this and I think to myself, okay, so the trailers aren't for you and I. I mean, they are for you and I, but we're going to talk about it, and the nerds, of the nerds of the world are going to talk about it. Like, why haven't we gotten a Love and Thunder one? What's going on? Blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, Joe Sixpack, who, loved the other Thor movie and loves all the other, stuff, is going to be like, I didn't even know the movie was coming out, and all of a sudden they're going to spring it on him, and he's going to be like, oh my God, this looks amazing, and go see it. It looks hilarious and all that.
He's also not like marketed on the calendar, like, okay, July 6th, I gotta go see Thor. It's gonna be like July 2nd. He's like, okay, it's coming out this week, I'll go see it.
In between barbecuing and taking the kids to the pool, he's got a date with Chris Hemsworth, Chris Pratt. So and Taika Waititi. Freaking I'm not worried about this at all. Like not at all.
So the image they released So Taika is doing this, okay? Taika's doing this. Chris Hemsworth is doing he's doing this, or he's doing like a rock thing. Yeah. And then Tessa Thompson is doing this or something. Anyway, you can share it so that
Yeah,
I can break this down easier. But they're all they're not American, and Americans are the only people in the world who do their date, month, day, year. Everybody else does day, month, year, day, month, year.
We do day, month, day, year, and they do. And then they do day, month, year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Try saying that 10 times fast. I mean, that is not easy. I think I had a link in the show notes if you're looking for it. Yeah, there it is. Okay.
Yeah.
So you can see Taika has two fingers up, and so that's an 11.
Right.
This is what the internet's broken down. No confirmation on this whatsoever. Thor's got the rock symbols, but that also could equal 4. And then Tessa's doing peace signs for 2-2.
Right.
So you could look at that as 11, which is the day, 4, the month, and then 2-2, the year. So the rest of the world does 11/4/22, which in America is April 11th, 2022. So we may be getting a trailer on Monday.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, yeah, that could possibly be. Do we count? Does the water bottle smashed on the floor next to the chair count for anything? Is that?
Yeah, that's we just nerdgasm.
Okay.
That's nerds.
I'm like, this is like an official. This is like an official picture, and there's like a crushed bottle of water next.
I don't think I ever even saw that. That's
who's the intern that forgot that? Because you're fired. Okay,
that's the coffee cup in Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just that's nerds gasming all over themselves. So
yeah, I'll tell you what, man. I am really excited for. I love Taika. I think the dude is absolutely hilarious. You want
to share your screen?
I have started. I did start. I think I watched one episode of the show that he has right now.
The vampire one?
No, it's called Our Flag Means Death.
Oh, I haven't even heard this.
Oh my gosh, it is hilarious. It's Taika, and then it's Rhys Darby is really the main character, who's another New Zealander. So and he's like one of the funniest guys ever, I think.
Oh yeah, okay.
And Hodor from Game of Thrones is in it, but he basically plays Rhys Darby plays like a fancy boy who decides, and it's kind of based loosely on a true story of a guy who was like a fancy boy and decided he wanted to be a pirate, and so he hires a bunch of guys to go with him out on the seas of the Caribbean, and then he becomes friends with Blackbeard, the pirate Blackbeard, who is played by Taika Waititi. and then they have a bromance.
I haven't even heard of this.
Oh my gosh, it's on HBO Max, and I got to tell you, the first episode alone was friggin' hilarious. It was so funny. It was so funny. So
well, he has that vampire show too, which is super funny. I can't think of the name of it, but that I've watched a couple episodes of that, just like being like, what is this? Oh, it's Taika Waititi created it. His humor is it's like right down my alley. When I think about Thor Ragnarok, I'm like, this was the perfect movie for me for Thor.
Yeah.
It's just all the humor in that movie is spot on.
Yeah. What We Do in the Shadow? No, that's
What We Do in the Shadows. Yeah.
Is that what it is? Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And there's a couple, smaller but big, kind of like that Our Flag Means Death show. It's got some like people you would recognize.
Yeah.
Matt Berry is in it, he's got a great voice. He actually voiced a couple things in the Boba Fett show.
So, I know Zoe Cloud gets all the hype for her Immortals stuff, being an Oscar winner and then doing the Immortals and all that stuff. But Taika is an Oscar winner as well for Jojo Rabbit. So,
yes, that's right.
Which is kind of funny. He doesn't get a lot of love for that.
It was the best original screenplay, right? Yeah.
He did the screenplay for Jojo Rabbit. So
that's right.
The dude is immensely talented, talented. He's a really funny guy. And I think his Ragnarok, was really great. It really changed. It really changed, and the character itself, Thor, had kind of changed as it was over the years. The first two were, I would say, stiff. Like they just weren't. They just didn't flow very well, and I think the whole change in tone of Chris Hemsworth's Thor character really was needed, and then they did exactly what they needed to do, and they pulled it off with Ragnarok for sure, and even into Endgame and Infinity War. His personality changed, and it was really great.
He had maybe the best arc in Infinity War. He was probably the MVP of that movie
for sure.
And the way they kind of brought it full circle and Endgame was great, and they saved the character, and now he's love Chris Hemsworth, so more Taika, more Hemsworth for me is a good thing. Next,
we got that a part where he lands. Not to sidetrack it.
Gosh, it's one of the top 3 moments.
I'll edit it into the show so we can watch, so you guys can watch it. But that scene
I get chills every single time.
Where he comes down and he's all lit up. It's just like
the music. So cool. At that point, because they build it up where it's like they feel like they're losing, and then here's Thor to save the day. Yeah, and then he's got Rocket and Groot.
So, and Mark Ruffalo's. You guys are all
so screwed.
Yeah, right.
But I love. It's actually Skarsgard's face that I love the most, because you could feel like she's like, oh God. So please edit that into this. We should probably just put that in every episode.
Right? Yeah. Why not? Right.
1 million views. Next on the rundown, we've got some Warner Brothers news on multiple levels. So we'll start with the problem child of it all. Ezra Miller recently got in trouble in Hawaii. He was at a bar, he had an outburst and took the phone from somebody singing karaoke. And this is on top of he was caught on video a couple of years ago choking a woman. And Warner Brothers hasn't really commented on it until recently. They didn't comment at all on the choking, which is a problem. And so this came out, and they came out, or at least a rumor came out, that they're putting all Ezra Miller projects on hold. So Ezra Miller, best known for his role as the Flash in the Snyderverse movies, the Justice League Snyderverse movies. He's got his own movie coming out later this year. He's also in Fantastic Beasts. He was person being Wallflower. He's a well-known. You know his face when you see him.
Yeah,
and he's become a big problem for Warner Brothers. So that rumor came out at the beginning of the week, and then at the end of the week, Warner Brothers came out and said, well, that's exaggerated. So it's like, what are you doing, Warner Brothers? This is just more like problems from the Warner Brothers lot, that it feels like they don't know what they're doing. What do you think, Eric?
What
are you even doing back there, Warner Brothers?
I'm thinking, I was just looking at Ezra's IMDb stuff, and I'm like, it's just interesting because it's like he's a bad boy in Hollywood. He's not the first guy in Hollywood that's been a bad boy, and the choking thing clearly is a problem. Like that's you can't choke people. You can't choke anybody, whether it's a man or a woman, anything like that. You can't do that. The situation in the bar, I don't know. I don't know what happened there. I've been into a lot of bars, and
more of a story to that about the people he's living with and how he stole a bunch of credit cards and stuff from him. And there's a restraining order. Not that it's important. I don't want to get into that kind of crap, but
the details of it or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Like I said, he's a bad boy. He's a Hollywood bad boy. So You know, if you're
like
if you're Warner Brothers, if you're Warner Brothers though, you're probably like, oh man, this is an issue. But in the inside, they're like, they're talking about our stuff. Okay. You know, people are talking about our stuff.
People are talking about the Flash.
Right. They're talking about the Flash, and they're talking about, you know, and it goes back to the old saying of, you know, no publicity is bad publicity, you know, and so, you know, people are talking about, oh, well, he needs, you know, we need to pause his projects and all that stuff. And maybe they are. I mean, maybe they do think it's a fundamental problem and that he's going to be more trouble than he's worth. But I don't know. I mean, unless he does something like, unless he, you know, if they didn't do anything about the choking incident, the guy's got a lot of leeway, you know. I mean, you saw what happened with Will Smith, obviously, you know, at the
and that's kind of ties into
Oscars
and stuff.
thing,
you know,
yeah.
Like the whole thing that's going on with Will Smith right now is he's a big Warner Brothers actor, you know? So Warner Brothers has some shit on their hands that they don't know what to do with. Here's my thought on the Ezra Miller thing is there's some executive at Warner Brothers goes to some editor and he's like, the Flash movie coming out, is there any way you can just make that a Batman movie?
Yeah, right. Can we digitally put Robert Pattinson's face somewhere? And
can we make another Batman movie instead of that? So
yeah, I don't know. I think this is probably a non-story, you know.
Yeah, it really is. The next few things are all Warner Brothers related, so I wanted to start with that. The next thing on the rundown is a new segment that Eric and I like to call Skarsgard, not Sarsgaard. Bill Skarsgard, best known as It, the Clown, is the new Eric Draven, the Crow, in the Crow reboot. So we are getting a new Crow, the Crow, I should say, reboot coming out. No details on anything other than he's the new Crow. And if you know anything about the original The Crow movie, you had Bruce Lee's son.
Yeah. Eric Lee.
Is it Eric Lee?
I think it was Eric. Yeah.
Or his name is Eric Draven.
I thought it was Brandon Lee.
Brandon Lee.
His name is Brandon.
Brandon Lee was accidentally shot and killed on the set.
Of
The Crow.
Yep.
I mean, that movie freaked me out as a kid, and then that story just kind of added to the like lure of that movie a little bit. But I don't know. What do you think of Bill Skarsgard, not Sarsgaard, as the new Eric Draven?
Skarsgard, not to be confused with the Sarsgaard that goes on your face. You know, Bill scares the hell out of me. He really does. So
he really does.
And depending on
he really does.
So
creepy smile.
Yeah, he does for sure. So I think he'll be fine as the Crow, because that role, that character's role is a scary, because the first one was pretty scary, the way Brandon had it, the way he had his face painted up, and the stuff that he kind of did in that show or in that movie was pretty cool. It's been a long time since I've seen that movie, so
I'd like to revisit it myself.
Yeah. So I think it's fine. I think it's going to be cool. I think they'll figure out a way to do it. You know, my only fear, and I'm not a superstitious person too much, but you know, I just a little stitious. Yeah, I just a little stitious, minor stitious. Then was that some super or? Yeah. Anyhow, so we'll see. I just hope everything is okay with that one. You know, that they're able to lift, if you will, a curse or whatever. Hopefully, you know, that particular project's not cursed or anything like that. So
they had a sequel to it called City of Angels, and it was a new, obviously it was a new actor.
Right.
Didn't do well. Then they tried to do another Crow movie, and it was a different actor again, and I don't know if that third movie was in the same universe. I know there's two different The Crow, like there's Eric Draven and there's somebody else, and I can't remember who it is, but it's a really cool concept, and it's a really cool, like it feels a little gothy, in a way.
Yeah.
Not a little. It's very gothy.
Very gothy.
Yeah. So you can do some cool things with it. And Bill, like you said, Bill Skarsgard, not Sarsgaard,
correct.
Shit out of me. So he can play it very well. And that's a good segue to the next thing on the rundown, which is there's an prequel TV series in development at Warner Brothers HBO Max called Welcome to Derry. It's supposed to take place in the 60s, and it's going to show the how the clown it came to be. No word on if Bill Skarsgård, not Sarsgaard, is in the prequel TV series, but they are expanding that universe. The first one I thought it was a very good movie. The massive hit it came out to be, I thought was a little hyperbolic, but I did not even see the second one. I heard it wasn't as good. Still fine, but not nearly as good. So they're looking to expand that universe. What do you think?
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
Don't care.
Nope. I didn't see either of the movies. I haven't seen any of the It stuff. I'm not afraid of clowns, but I don't have an unusual fear of clowns, but I'm not going anywhere near that. Like, it's like one of my favorite gifs is the Danny DeVito from Always Sunny or whatever, where he's like, he shakes his head. He's like, nope. It's like one of my favorites. That's the way I feel about it. It's like, nope.
I know. I love that. I love that gift. And as a kid, really the only movie that ever scared me was the original It. Scared the crap out of me. And it was a Spider movie that scared the crap out of me too. But
Arachnophobia.
Thankfully, I didn't get a fear of clowns after that movie. Because I'll knock a clown in his stupid face. Next on the rundown is a new segment, and it's an ode to Eric. It's called Hollywood is Out of Ideas. So anytime we're going to get like a sequel to a movie or a reboot to something, we'll put it under the Hollywood is Out of Ideas category. And this definitely falls under that, because what are they thinking here? Eddie Murphy's Beverly Hills Cop 4 finds its director in TV commercial director Mark Malloy, who's directed a bunch of Apple TV commercials. Maybe from his iPhone, I don't know. I think that's how they do it.
Yeah.
Eric, this is your saying. Hollywood's out of ideas.
Hollywood's out of ideas. I mean, we're going to the Eddie Murphy. Not that I don't enjoy seeing Eddie Murphy in stuff, because I
love
do
me some Axel Foley.
I love Axel Foley. But I mean, holy smokes! Like the absolute bomb that Beverly Hills Cop 3 was. I mean, and
it was terrible.
Coming off of how great the first two were, the third one was just a pile of crap, and so here we are, 30 years later, and we're like, we're gonna go back to the well, but again, what everybody's looking for is a 60-year-old Axel Foley, who's gonna drop the F word every 2 minutes or whatever. I don't know what we're gonna do here. I like it.
Honestly, I don't get it. I mean, love me some Axel Foley. If I need an Axel Foley kick, I'll go watch Beverly Hills Cop. Yeah,
go watch Beverly Hills Cop 1 and 2, or whatever. I find it, there's very few movies out there, sequels, that I think top the original, and Beverly Hills Cop 2 is one of those where I think it might be better than the first one. I love the first one, don't get me wrong, but Beverly Hills Cop 2 was so good.
So good.
It was really great film. And so I think that was the part that hurt the most about Beverly Hills Cop 3. So, but again, Hollywood is out of ideas. And even kind of circling back to the two actually pieces that we talked about just before. I mean, so we're remaking The Crow again.
Yep.
Again, so now this is now 3 times we've redone The Crow or whatever.
Right.
And then we're also we're gonna
Back to the
we're gonna get a
will.
prequel of the It, because we want to see how some psycho becomes a psycho. It's like, okay, well, all right. So I don't know.
My justification for those previous 2 is we need a good Crow movie. And I think what they can do with movies nowadays, they can really do some good stuff. So I'd like to see an amazing Crow movie. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
I like to see the expansion of worlds. I don't think it was is where we should be. We don't need to be expanding the It world. Like, is that a really rich world where we need to expand? But yeah. And maybe we should put it all under the whole rundown could be Hollywood is out of ideas.
Hollywood's out of ideas.
Nothing original on the rundown.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, I mean, with the exception of Ezra Miller stuff, his Flash, I guess. Well, I guess the Flash, all that stuff is all comic books stuff that's all been done, and Star Wars has all kind of been done, I guess, or whatever. But
there's nothing original. So
yeah. So I don't know. We'll see.
We did get just literally lost my train of thought. I looked outside my hotel room and I saw people and I lost my train of thought. Anyway, we'll move on from the rundown. Because it is our 1-year anniversary, our 50th episode, which is God, it's incredible to say that out loud, thinking about where we were a year ago and the amount of work and return on our investment that we've put in over the last year has been incredible. I never, ever expected the show to do the numbers it's doing. We just passed 700 YouTube subscribers this past week. We're sitting around 725 or something like that.
Yep.
We get 1,000 YouTube views a week on a regular basis now.
Right.
We get hundreds of downloads a week. We talk about it all the time, Eric. We get that email from Buzzsprout on Monday nights. There's still people downloading our first episode from a year ago every single week.
Yep.
Like, people are going back to that. Like, listen, you want to start somewhere. We can give you a starting point. Just reach out to us. That wasn't the greatest work, but you know what? It was. We still have fans from that first episode, and I am incredibly thankful for some of them who have stuck with us. Over this past year, we haven't been afraid to try new things. We haven't been afraid to change it up if things weren't working. We try to listen to our listeners, and if they give us a piece of advice, we change it up. And I think that's a testament to how well the show is done, because it's really we work hard on this show, but we want you guys to tell us what you want to hear and what you like and what you don't like. Because that's what we're here for, is the fans, and I'm so thankful. But I'm most thankful for you, Eric, who I hate saying you're the back end of the show, because you do all the back end editing and stuff. Because that, first of all, sounds a little. That's what she said. If
right.
my script on it. But you put in ungodly amount of hours editing this over the past year, and staying up late and making us look good when we mess up. There's a lot to get cut on that. I mean, I mess up the intro almost on a weekly basis, and Eric cuts it out, thankfully. So
we're a lot better. Yeah, we've gotten a lot better. We've gotten a lot more professional. Which makes my job a lot easier, on the backside of things, and as far as editing and things like that. So it's not, and I've got, workflows that I've built to try and speed things up on my end too. So it used to take me a lot longer than it takes me now to kind of get through stuff. But I mean, when we first started it, I think I told you the average podcast lasts 8 episodes. Like that's the average podcast. Like if somebody starts a podcast, they only make it 8 episodes before they give up and quit. Or decide that they don't want to do it or do something different. So here we are, episode 50 of the rundown, and that doesn't even include multiple presents shows. We've had a couple special editions. We did the Falcon and Winter Soldier stuff. We did some other reviews. Yeah. So my hat's off to you for your leadership in coming up with the idea of doing this. It's been a great year. I mean, it really has. And my wife and I were talking about it last night. We went to this fundraiser benefit for the kids' school, and she's like, I can't even believe it's been a year. Like, it doesn't even feel like, she's like, it doesn't feel like it's been a year that you guys have been doing this. And I said, yeah, I mean, it was funny because when we first started, did we do the first episode here at my house, or did we do it at the office? I remember that.
I think we did it at the office.
I think we did it at the office down. Yeah, we did do it down there. We did, we recorded down there at the office. And I remember there were some guys working on a motorcycle next door, and it drove me crazy because I could hear them revving the engines. And I was like, God, and the microphones were terrible. Like the microphone recording levels were awful. And I didn't know anything about compressing audio. And so you poor bastards out there that listen to that first episode, I probably should go back and re-level everything from the old, the old episode. But we get to the point where we would talk kind of quiet, and so people would have to turn their radios up to hear that, and then we'd laugh or something and blow their speakers out, and all that. So I do remember that. I was like, oh geez, I feel terrible. So,
we've got a lot to learn here. Yeah.
Yeah. So
there was we forgot to hit the record button or something.
Yeah.
There was a lot of rookie mistakes in the beginning.
Yeah, for sure. But it's been a great ride, and it's been a lot of fun. And we have some plans for kind of moving forward where we want to take the show and kind of where we want to go. And I think we'll probably survey, our fans and stuff to see how they want to do it. But I think, initially having just you and I was fun. And I think it was cool, and it's been great. I mean, to me, it's like I get to hang out with my buddy every week and talk about the stuff that we love to talk about, So, so it's like, it's
cool to put our wives on that one.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah. Hey, we're going to do a show together, and everything. So we just record just you and I being an idiot for, for an hour or so.
Right.
But I have to say, thank you to Brett D. King, to BT, to Bill Poor, to Jason Sparks, to Morgan Santo, and to Megan. You guys bringing them onto the show and expanding this Nerd Rundown podcast family has been the best thing for me, because I get to hear, not only do I get to hear like different ideas and different opinions of the stuff that we all love and watch, but everybody's so much fun, and everybody, is just, it's just been really, really great. And I've had such a wonderful time getting to know those guys, because I didn't know a lot of those guys before. In fact, I didn't know any of those guys before we started doing this. And, I'm texting them almost every day, we text each other every day, and we talk about different stuff, and like I have my headphone thing here is not working for me. It's really, really stiff. And so the other day I text Brett and Bill, and I was like, hey, I need to get a new one of these, printed up. And they were like, yeah, we'll help you out, So, I mean, it's just cool stuff, so it's the Nerd Rundown family, because it's not just, it's not just a show anymore. It's a family, and I think we feel the same. At least I feel that way with our fans and stuff too. You know, like you guys are all part of our family. I got a cousin Andy that listens all the time. You know, and Jen Tiedemann and her love for The Hobbit. You know, and her son Evan and his love for The Hobbit. You know, poor folks, but you know, it's
can't home run every time.
Yeah, so it's just.
I mean, it really is. I love that you said it's a family, the Nerd Rundown family. We nothing's more important than family, first of all, and the expansion of our family continues. I mean, we even brought on my neighbor Brian Castile, who
I forgot. Yeah, Brian was on there. Yeah,
he was amazing, even though he was so nervous. He did such a great job. And
he was great. Yeah.
Hearing the different perspective, I've heard it from multiple people. They're like, I like that you guys bring on different personalities and you get different perspectives, and it's been great. And while it started out you and me, and I'll always love that time together, you and I, Eric. The expansion has been really great for the show, and special shout out to our special boy Morgan Santo, who has really taken over our social media, and he gets more views on some of his TikToks than some of our podcasts do. Yeah. So he's really helped grow the show in a way that I never expected and couldn't do myself. So
yeah, I don't even know what TikTok really is. I
It's not for you. It's not the target audience.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Anyway, we salute you all who have come on the show, the co-hosts. Thank you so much for making the show what it is, and we salute all of our listeners out there. We've got some really great stuff coming up. I cannot wait for a year or two and to come back maybe in a year and see where the show is from now until then.
Yeah, for sure.
If the past year has been any indication, we've only got some great things ahead of us. And
we're only going to get better. Yep.
We hope so. we didn't climax it too early. So we'll cap off the show. Enough patting our backs.
Yeah, right.
We'll cap off the show with a question, a NRDbox question from good old Banana, and she writes in a very, very, very good question. I know she was stressing out. She wanted to contribute to the 50th podcast, the 1-year anniversary, and she did it in a very, very good way. She writes in, why do some superheroes have a secret identity and some reveal their identity? So, not caveat, but a little kind of context to this, contextualizing this question, I should say. You got superheroes like Spider-Man, Batman, Superman. They have their secret. Actually, all Warner Brothers have secret identities, and most of Marvel are open with their identities, except for Spider-Man, maybe a couple out there. Like everybody knows who Iron Man is. Everybody knows who Captain America. They know he's Steve Rogers. Like the Avengers are Avengers and Fantastic Four. Everybody knows that he's Reed Richards, but Spider-Man keeps his identity, much like Batman keeps his identity. And I think it's really, really important to know why Spider-Man keeps his identity, why Batman keeps his identity, but others are able to kind of be out in the open with their superhero-ness. But I know my answer to this, but I want to see what you say to this, Eric.
Well, my answer to this is that at least for specifically my take on Spider-Man is, and the latest movie kind of shows why he has to keep his identity secret. So I'll let you kind of expand on that for Spider-Man. So I'll take maybe the Superman, Batman type, the Justice League, if you will. For them, I think it's so that they can just live a normal life, I think because you can't be Superman all the time,
Right.
and so he wants to have a normal life. And I think, comic book wise is different from the movies of Batman, because in the movies they portray him different from maybe the comic books treat him. Bruce Wayne is a much bigger side of Batman in the comic books than he is in the movies. They always rush to get to the Batman side of stuff. And but Bruce has a big role. He does a lot, and stuff. And so with him, it allows him to have that contact with the outside world. And so, what you're doing it for, like there's a world out there of normal. And the hope is that eventually you won't have to do it anymore. Like things will get better and you won't have to do it anymore. And you'll still be able to be Bruce Wayne, or Superman can have that relationship with Lois Lane, and he can protect Lois Lane from any reprisals to her for trying to get at Superman, because you can't beat him, but you could do something against Lois Lane, which I think is kind of similar to what you're probably going to say for Spider-Man. So that's kind of my take on it. But yeah,
I think that's a really great take. I think that it maybe with Warner, with the Warner Brothers, with the DC heroes, I think it's really also kind of best to put it in a way of saying, like, Clark Kent is Superman's mask,
right?
And it allows him to have that personal life because he's from a different world. He can't be Superman all the time. And then for Bruce, Batman is his mask.
Yeah.
And he could not care less about Bruce Wayne, and he'd rather be Batman out on the streets beating dudes up all the time. But he knows he has to be Bruce Wayne,
right?
For multiple reasons. So I like that, like, kind of like dichotomy of why they need to have their secret identities. And the same kind of goes for Hal Jordan and Green Lantern. They need to have their personal lives separate. And for Spider-Man in the Marvel universe, there's not a whole lot of secret identities out there in the Marvel universe, but Spider-Man's the big one. And when you think about when you compare Spider-Man with the other big heroes, family is all Spider-Man is about. Like, he is this kid who has his aunt who takes care of him. He's lost his parents. He's lost his uncle. His Aunt May is everything to him. His friends are everything to him because he's a kid.
Right.
And how would the world react to knowing that one of the biggest and best superheroes in the world is a kid?
Right.
Like, it would create a shitstorm of government intervention, and not to mention when you have a rogues gallery like Peter Parker and Spider-Man do, every time they figure out even a hint of who he is, they go after his family.
Right. Yeah.
And you see that in the newest Spider-Man movie. You saw that in the first Spider-Man movie with the Goblin going after May. And,
yep.
It's just it's scary. Like, it's scary to know if you're a superhero, you got to put the mask on and keep your identity secret, because I have a hair in my eye and I cannot get it. I keep trying to pinch it. It's gone. So I forget what I was saying there, but you have to put the mask on to protect your family. And like, you have too many villains as Spider-Man to reveal your identity. You have too many villains to protect your family, and so you have to do it for them. And I think he even says it time and time again. He's like, I don't wear this to protect me. I wear it to protect the ones I love. And that's so powerful. Like, Peter's so selfless. You know, he's maybe the most selfless superhero ever. He did reveal his identity in a very, very terrible, like maybe one of the top 2 worst Spider-Man comic runs of all time. Well, I'm sorry. I take that back. He revealed his identity in the Civil War run, which was one of the best comic runs. And it was one of the worst decisions that ever came in comics. He did it to side with Team Iron Man, and you know, he immediately regretted it and immediately had ramifications. And then in one of the worst comic runs called One More Day, he makes a deal with Mephisto to brainwash everybody. Kind of like they adapted that into No Way Home. And it was really poorly done, but it had to be done as well. So his secret identity is for sure an important aspect of the character. It's not just like a little side thing. It's an important aspect of his character. And when you take that away, he becomes less special as a superhero. So I think that's a really great question. I was trying to think of some other Marvel characters that have their secret identity. The X-Men are kind of out in the open. Daredevil has a secret identity, and very, very good point. Much like Superman, you know, you look at his comic runs when his villains get an inkling of who his secret identity is. They go after Feige, they go after Karen Page, they go after you know, the ones he loves. So he does it. He wears the mask to protect. And the Daredevil TV series brilliantly highlighted why he has to wear the mask and why he has to keep the identity separate. The secret identity has to keep the secret identity. So great question from Banana. Yeah, Banana, thank you. Thank you very much for contributing to our 1-year anniversary. We're not going to have a presents show.
Oh, well, I was just going to say real quick, you know, that brings up to me, it brings up a good point. I want to thank my wife and I want to thank Anna, you know, both for the support that they have given to both of us, you know, and then I imagine the rest of the crew, you know, to their wives and to their husbands, you know, because it takes a while to do these shows, you know, like they go out for like an hour and a half or whatever, or 2 hours, but we're probably on for 3 hours, like, you know, because things get cut out, or we talk before we record. We talk afterwards. So it's a large chunk of a day, you know, or an evening that we're doing this. And it's not like life stops, you know, like my kid still has, you know, still needs food, still needs to you know, to eat breakfast or you know, or eat dinner and or if they have to get up and go to the bathroom in the middle of the night while we're recording, you know, the life still goes on. So so thank you to my wife Stacy, thank you to Anna, you know, and the rest of the crew and their families for supporting us through this. It's you guys are just as much a part of that as anything. So
more than anything, thank you to our spouses. I was going to say to our wives, but
shout out to my dad who listens every week to the show.
Shout out to my parents who listen every week.
I was going to say shout out to the number one fan of the show, Denise Stemple. So still holding the title.
No one's taking that.
Although your sister for a while there was wanted to take that mantle, but I think Denise still got it. So mom still got it for sure. So thank you to everybody. I mean, this is such an incredible thing that we've created on so many levels that it takes so much from everybody. I can't. I'm having trouble putting it into words. It really is a good chunk of our week, and it's a sacrifice on a lot of people's hands. So I know, for example, I know Jason's wife had to take kids out, for Saturday mornings while we record. So it's just, it's a lot on everybody's plate, and
One day when we get super big and super rich, it'll all be worth it.
Right.
Just hang on for that moment.
Yeah.
But thank you. And we salute you at the Nerd Rundown, all the husbands and wives out there. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
No presents today. Didn't feel right having that come up with the 1 year anniversary of the Nerd Rundown.
Yeah.
Just a little focus on the thing that started it all, and that was the rundown. So thank you, Eric, again for an incredible year. I look forward to more time with you always.
Thank you, sir. You too. Yeah.
I appreciate you and love you very much, and I love you all out there. With that being said, we'll see you all next week on the Nerd Rundown.
See ya. Bye.